Okay, today we're going to draw the house icon for assignment 2.1. And we see over here on the left side of my screen, I've got the assignment plan here that we're going to redo over here on the right side of my screen. And here's the template that we've got to work with. And in this dashed area, we'll draw the house. So I'll just start with lines. I'll just use lines to start drawing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start just with the outline of the building. And I see that it's 20 by 40 feet. So we'll just start up in the top left corner. We can kind of start anywhere, and I'll draw a line 480 inches, which is 40 feet. And we'll come back down 20 feet, which is 240 inches. Back across 480, enter, and then click there. So those were all lines that I used to draw that. And it's best to have your drawings be composed of just lines and individual objects rather than polylines if possible. So I will go ahead and just zoom in a little bit there to fill the screen, that part of the screen. And now we can create the wall thickness for the exterior walls. And the note says, well, let's see, the note doesn't say here, but the walls are 8 inches thick. So we'll do offset 8 inches. Click there, there, and there. And then why don't we go ahead and draw this other room that's inside here, up in the top right corner. We see that the corner here is 18 feet 4 inches from the inside of that wall and 12 feet 4 inches from there. So we can use the copy command. I'll take this, CO, move it down, click move down. So we'll go 12 feet 4 inches. And then we'll copy this line over. Also 18 feet 4 inches. I'll use the trim command to trim off those there. And we'll erase that little bit. And while we're at it, we might as well trim all of these other corners. So I'll use the trim command. And get rid of the little excess pieces we don't need. Here. We could use the fillet command also to create a nice sharp corner. And maybe we can do that for the next operation. So here then we'll also do is offset these walls. The offset command I already had it set for 8 inches, so that's good. So that's already set. So I just need to pick my objects to offset there. And now why don't we go ahead and try to use the fillet command to create the nice sharp corner there. And first of all, before I do that, I check that my radius is 0 because I don't want a radius intersection. I just want a nice sharp corner intersection. There it is. Okay, what we can do now is create the opening here in the wall, and it's 6 inches away from the interior corner and 4 feet wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this line to create those other lines and trims. So I will copy this first, whoops, not circle, but copy, CO, copy that over 6 inches. And then I will do it again, 6 inches, CO, or no, I'm sorry, 4 feet. So that'll be 48 inches, right? I will extend those two lines to the next boundary, which is the opposite side of the wall, and then trim, but I don't need. TR, I don't need those pieces. And now that I have these intersections, I don't need that. Okay. Let's move on to the door. And here, the door is 1'8" from the exterior corner and it's 3 feet wide. So let's make the door opening first and then we'll draw the door. And we'll zoom in here also a little bit. And again, I'll use something that I already have that is already aligned at one of my sort of control points here. I know that things are being controlled by that corner, right? These dimensions are taken from that corner. So I'll take a line or an object that is already attached there so I can move it, or copy it, the exact amount from that point that's already set. So 20 inches. Okay, and just like I did the other opening in the interior wall, we'll do a copy again, and this one will be 36 inches. All right, we'll do the trim, same sort of trim operation here as we did on the opening in the interior wall. So there's the door opening. Now to draw the door, what I don't have on here is that the door should be 1.5 inches wide. The door, of course, should be thick. I'm sorry, 1.5 inches thick. The door, of course, should be as wide as the door opening itself. So that will be 3 feet. And then the arc, the door arc of the door here will be a 3-foot radius, 90-degree arc. So let's draw the door itself first. And I'll just do a rectangle, and I can draw it anywhere in space, and then I'll move it first. So again, we'll just click anywhere. I'll start moving my mouse. And again, the door width of the door itself is 36 inches. So I'll do 36 direction, comma, and I said the thickness of the door is 1.5 inches. So comma 1.5, enter. Grab that and we'll move it into place. So I'll snap from that corner of the door to that corner of the wall. Now all we have to do is draw the arc. Use the A for the arc command, and in this case I'm going to use the center option to place the center of the arc. So I'll type C. Now it's asking me specify the center point of the arc, which is this point here. I'll click there. Now you see it's asking me for the start point of the arc, and remember the arcs by default will draw counterclockwise. So what I should do is start up here and click at that point, and you see, well, now that if I take off ortho, you see that it draws counterclockwise. And again, if I were to move my mouse this way, it's still drawing it counterclockwise, which we could do. We could switch the direction by holding the control key, but by default, just remember this is the way that it does it. So I have ortho on, so I just need to snap to 90 degrees there, click, there's the arc. Finally, no, almost finally, we have this big window here and sort of a mezzanine up above here. So to do this, the dimensions indicate that the equal dimensions indicate that this point here is the midpoint, right in the middle of between the exterior corners. So right in the midpoint, there's a sort of that's where the window, that's what this represents. The window ends and the wall, or the wall ends and the window begins. So to do this, let's zoom in a little bit in AutoCAD on that wall. Okay. And what I can do first is find the midpoint of that. And you see that a single line always has sort of a midpoint right there. So I can use this object and rotate, copy it, or I can maybe even just easier just draw a line from this midpoint to the midpoint of the interior. So that would correspond to that little line. Then what we can do is we can trim away and extend some of these other lines. So I'll use the trim command, trim away that, and then I'll also extend this to the edge of the outside edge of the envelope. And now finally, there is this one line here which represents the frameless glass, and I'll just draw a new line for that. So I'll line up right with that midpoint and snap to the perpendicular here. And so there's that. So that's basically it. Let's see, we have one more thing, which is this dashed line up above, and I didn't put a dimension on there, but I'm just going to take one line here and I'll copy it over 60 inches, because I remember that's what I did when I created the assignment. And I'll use the extend command, EX, and just have that extend to the other wall. Let me select it, and now what I can do is over here, change the line type from by layer to, say, a -2. Or I think in the assignment I say dashed, but either one will do for now. Those can be edited. Some final cleanup things we can, just to match the plan here. Whoops, I forgot the fireplace. So let's do the fireplace. Okay. 7 feet over from the exterior corner, 5 feet wide, and I didn't put a dimension the other direction, but I think that's it was 36. So I will we'll put that in. So copy, now do another copy of a line here, 84 inches, which is 7 feet. Do another copy, 60 inches. Okay, and this, copy this. 36 inches, and we can start trimming away things. TR, delete some of these extra items. I'll use that, delete that, and then again we can use the offset command, which is already has saved our 8-inch offset, and use it here and there, and then again we can trim a few things here. TR, all right, so there is the fireplace, and again just a little bit of cleanup here and there. We'll use the trim command again, that and that, and that should do it. Let's compare to our reference drawing. It looks about the same. So we are done. We can check the layout here, and I'll zoom extents there just to zoom in quickly a little bit. And there we go. It looks very similar to the assignment. Now we'll draw the elevations of the house. And you see over here on the left side of my screen, I've got the Rhino model, and so we can take some dimensions off of that. And we will unfold the elevation. So we'll start with one face and move around a corner to the next face, around the corner to the next face, and so on until we do all 4 faces. And we'll start with this side with the door. And we'll just, I'll use Rhino to take some dimensions. And if I've set up our assignment correctly, the Rhino model should match our AutoCAD file as well, or the plan drawing as well. So I'm going to use the distance command to find out how far across that is there, and that's 20 feet. That's what I thought it was. Let's take a quick check here. That's 3 feet. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and start drawing here in AutoCAD. I'll start with just a line, simple line. Go across 240 inches, 20 feet. So that will correspond to across here someplace. And then we'll copy that, CO, copy that up the 3 feet, 36 inches, which would represent from the ground to the floor. And in fact, what we might want to do is I'm going to use the stretch command, S, and just extend the ground plane line in each direction a little bit. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just check the Rhino model again, and what I want to do here is find out where does this breakpoint for this curve occur. And I'll do a distance, and above our floor level there, that's 12 feet, 2 1/4 inches. So what I will do then is I will just draw a line, start here, and go, oops, and I missed. Let's try that again. Line, snap, go up 12 feet, dash 2.25. Do it that way. It's easier to enter in decimals, okay? Then I'll also copy this over to the other. Now let's do this. Yes, we can do that. We'll just copy this over to the other side. Okay, there. Then what I'll do is I will rotate copy this to create the slopes here. Okay, so I'll do RO, click to set the base point, use the copy before I do anything else, use C for the copy option. And where I want to put it is up here. That's an angle of, if this is 0 this way, that's 90 degrees that way. And so this would be 135 degrees. So I'll type in 135 degrees, enter. There we go. What I'll do here is I'll take that and mirror it, MI, around my base point, my midpoint here, because I know that would reflect it exactly and get that to that edge. Now what I will do is I'm going to use, let's go back to the Rhino model. Let's see, I'll switch to the front. Oops, how about, I think it's the my right view, just to build it. And we'll zoom in here. We'll do a dim radius and select that arc, and there we go. So that's a 24-inch radius, and this should be, there's another 24-inch radius, and this is the same, I believe, right? 24 inches. So those are all 24-inch radii. Okay, so then what we can do is come over here to AutoCAD and do a fillet, F, and then before I click anything, I'll change my radius setting and do a radius fillet of 24. So type in there 24, enter inches. And then since I want to do 3 of these, I'll use the multiple option here. So M, or since my mouse is there, I can just click. Now it's asking me select first object, and I can just go around here, and there, then that, and that one, and then that one, and that one. Okay. Now let's make sure that all of our heights and other things are connected. So I actually want these lines to connect down to the ground. So I'll use the extend command EX and just draw a line through those there. Okay. And what we can do here also is, if we go back to Rhino, let's double check and see, we go to perspective and zoom out a little bit, how high this point, this break point here, needs to be above any one of either the ground or that first level. Let's do all the way to the ground. So we'll do a distance. And from that point all the way down to the ground, that's 15 feet, 2 1/4 inches. Okay, so what I will do here is that first time I drew these lines and made them 12 feet, 2 1/4 inches, that kind of got negated by doing the fillets. So I sort of have to redo this. So we'll copy this 15 feet to, and now again, 2.25, because that's just a faster way to enter it. So that's the line at which the endpoint here, the beginning of that curve, should be. So in order to raise everything, I'll use the stretch command, S, and I'll draw through the points that I want to move, which is this set of points, which is everything from the bottom of those curves up. I'm done selecting, I'll hit spacebar, I'll move in here a little bit, grab, and snap to and grab that point, and now you see what happens is I can move all of those points I selected. I can move them anywhere I want, but I really just want to move them up straight so that it's not perpendicular to that new line I made there. So that has set the roof at the proper height. Now let's draw the chimney in this elevation. And so we want from this, let's measure it from this point here. And that's 19 feet 7 inches above that line, our floor line, and the width of it that we'll see, let's do another dimension here, is 3 feet. So let's go back to AutoCAD. So from this line, we want to go 19 feet 7 inches, so I'll do a copy of this, copy that up, 19 feet dash 7 inches there. So that represents the top of our chimney, which, oops, the right side, would be this line here, corresponds to that line. The right edge of it would just be the same as this line. And we know, we just measured in Rhino, it's 3 feet across this way. So what I'm going to do to draw the other two lines representing the chimney, for the outside one, I'm going to take this line already and rotate, copy it 180 degrees around this point. So rotate, RO. The base point it's asking me for will be right here at the end of that line. And again, before I actually click to do the rotation, I'm going to make sure I hit C for the copy option. And so you see it leaves the original one there in place. And now I can move my mouse 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees to rotate it 180 degrees. And just click there. So that just created a new line by copying this one around that point. The other face of the chimney, the interior face here, is 3 feet over from here. So we just copy this over 3 feet, 36 inches, enter. And we will just, let's just trim everything that we don't need now, TR. Go across there, don't need that, don't need that, and then I can just delete that. So there's, oh, we forgot the door. Let's measure the door. So distance from this corner to the exterior of the wall, 1 foot 8, 20 inches, okay? Let's do 2 more dimensions. The width of the door, 3 feet, and the height of the door is 7 feet. So it's a rectangle that's 3 feet by 7 feet and 20 inches from the corner. So let's just draw it that way. Rectangle, and we'll go ahead and start in this corner. Click, 3 feet over, so in the X direction, so 36, comma, and 7 feet in the Y direction, which is 84 inches, 36, comma, 84, enter. Now we just need to move that over. M, move over 1 foot 8, which is 20 inches there. Now, as I said when we did the plan drawing, that it's always best to have things as separate lines rather than like polylines or enclosed objects, unless you really need it as an enclosed object. So what I'm going to do here is to adhere to that tenet, I'm going to explode this with the X shortcut. So now this is separate lines, 4 separate lines. And there's even one down here, and I don't need that, so I'll erase it. So moving on to the other faces of the house. So if that's right, so let's see, now let's take a look at the back. Set the view to the back here. And here what we can do, again, is we've got one line here already that corresponds to the distance between the ground plane and that line there. So I can just go ahead and copy that over. CO, we'll copy it over here someplace. I'll go ahead and copy again a ground plane. Let's check some dimensions here. All the way across this face, do dimension. Whoops. Go back to Rhino. There we go. Dimension. So across here, that's 40 feet. So we'll copy, whoops, this line, CO, 480 inches, which is 40 feet. Enter. It's off the screen. I'll go ahead and stretch S my ground plane here to extend beyond that. All right. I can take this line and copy it twice to represent the floor line and that roof line. Okay, so I know that if I copy it, I can just use this drawing also to match as a reference. So if I want to, all I need to do is copy from this point to that point, and then also to, I'll zoom in here again a little bit, to the end point of that arc there. I can do one more if I want. Let's do a copy, and we'll CO, copy. Again, from that same endpoint there, we want to go up, and what I'm going to do is use a tracking guide. So I'll hover this over this midpoint here, which is the very top, and pull off a green tracking guide and just click. So that set that line, which is perfectly in line with that midpoint of the apex of the roof. We can extend or do the same thing we did before. Either we extend these or we can flip these around. So why don't we, using the rotate command, so why don't we do that again? Rotate, click on the base point, use the copy option, C, and then tell AutoCAD, well, how much do we want to rotate it? We want to go 180 degrees. So again, 0, 90, 180, there. And then I can just copy this, CO, all the way to the other side, perpendicular snap, click, and now let's trim away the things we don't need, TR. We don't need all of those 3 lines, we don't need these 2 extensions up here, and on this side also those 2 lines. Now for the chimney, all we really need are the horizontal dimensions here. We know we already have a line at this height, which is right here. So we can take that and sort of just copy it over and get it ready to attach it to 2 more lines, 2 more vertical lines. Okay, and so what we can do is over in the Rhino model, we'll take some dimensions and see what those are. Whoops, Rhino. Go to Rhino, here we go. DI, so across here, from the corner to the first vertical line is 7 feet. And then in between those 2 lines, we want 5 feet. Right? So I'll take this line, copy it over 7 feet, which is 84 inches, enter. I'll do it again. Copy that, move that over the 5 feet, which is 60 inches. Now we'll use the extend and fillet and trim commands to complete the chimney and make the nice 90-degree intersections here. We'll do the extend first. Extend, EX, and extend those down to that floor line. We use the trim command to get rid of this, TR. There. Now we'll use the fillet command, F. And before we do anything else, remember, let's check the radii. It's set at 2 feet. It kept the setting from before. We want 0 because we want nice sharp corners. So I'll type 0 for the radius. Whoops, I need to type R first to tell it we want to specify a radius 0. So 0. And again, we can do multiples. So I'll type M because I want to use this just the same all in different, more than one time. Multiple M. Click one line, click another one, click another one, and another one, and there. And zoom out. There's that elevation. So that's our second elevation. Let's go back to our perspective view. And now we want to do this face. It's basically, first of all, we know that it has the same outline as the front face. So let's just begin by copying that whole thing over. CO, and click, and I'll move it over, say here. Okay, and let's delete the things that we don't want to have seen. So we'll delete the door, and we'll delete the chimney. Okay, so all that's left to do on this face is simply draw in kind of this big figure here, which is meant to indicate like a big, huge window. And if we remember, according to the plan, this edge of it, the one that would be underneath the apex of the roof, is right in the midpoint of that wall. And we can see also that this wall comes through to create that other line. And we can go over to the Rhino model. We should do this. Go over to the Rhino model and let's check some dimensions then. So first of all, let's double check that that really is the midpoint. So if this is 20 feet across here, that should be 10 feet. So DI from here to here, yes, that's 10 feet. Let's check the distance between these faces here, DI, or the lines. So here to the perpendicular is 11 inches. Move this up a little bit. And just to ensure that it's parallel, let's check it down here. Also DI from here to perpendicular, also 11 inches. And then let's check the thickness of this wall. DI here to perpendicular, 8 inches, right? Which matches what our wall thickness is here. So we know that this point is the midpoint and that this would match the 8 inches in the elevation as well. And the new information that we didn't have from the plan is that over here we have parallel lines that are 11 inches apart. So what I'll do is for this this tall line here, the left edge of the window, I'll just draw a line. I know I've got a midpoint snap there, right in the middle. So we'll just draw, I'll click, and I'll connect it to all the other ones using extend and trim and fillet and such. To get these other lines here, I'll just use the offset command. I'll use that twice with two different offset distances. So we'll do offset. And you can see that it's pre-programmed, or it's kept the setting for 8 inches already. So that is what I want for one of them. So I'll just hit enter to accept it. And the one that I do want at 8 inches is this one. So we'll offset that 8 inches. Okay. And like I said, we'll do it twice. So we'll do the offset command again. This time we do need to change it. We need to change it to match the 11 inches for the roof. So we'll do 11 inches. And now we'll offset that. Okay, offset command's done. Now we'll use the fillet command to connect all of these into nice sharp corners. Fillet F. Let's check the radius. Radius is 0. That's good. That'll give us sharp corners. We have more than one to do, so I might as well hit the M key, multiple. So I can just do them all in one shot. Click there to connect them. Click there to connect those. End it. We're almost there. There's just a little bit, one more thing I think we need to do, which is clean up this one little line there. So we'll just trim that. TR, go through that, and that should be it. So we have 3 of those elevations already. Now the final elevation here, again, almost the same. We've almost got it all drawn already with this elevation. So I'll take this whole thing and copy over to here. Again, delete what we don't need, which is the chimney. And while I'm at it, I'll delete this little segment here and extend this one, EX, there. The only thing that's left is, let's see if we do our front view here, to draw this big, huge, long skylight. So let's find out how big it is and where it's placed. Okay, so I'll do a dimension of this. And here, vertically, it's 2'6", 30 inches vertical. And then off of each side, so horizontally this way, that's 5 feet. And then this way, that's also 5 feet. So it's 5 feet in. If we look at it, go back to AutoCAD here. 5 feet in from each one of those sides, and one more dimension we need, which is above or below some other reference line, either the very top or the bottom, where the top of the wall and the roof begins. So why don't we take that? We'll do a distance. Whoops. Let's go back in here. We'll do a distance between here to find out how high off of that horizontal line it should be. So that's 3'5 3/4". It's a little weird. Okay. What I'll do here is I will simply draw a rectangle, since we know that that's 5 feet and that's 5 feet, and the whole thing we've already drawn at 40 feet. We know that the length of this is 30 feet then, and we measured this at 30 inches, so it's 30 inches by 30 feet. So I'll just go ahead and draw a rectangle like that, and then I'll move it into place. Rectangle, and I might as well start here, where I know I'm going to have to move it up a certain amount. I've dimensioned that, measured it in Rhino. Click there, and so we'll do 30 feet, which is 360 inches, comma, 30 inches in the Y direction. So there is a rectangle that represents the skylight. Let's move it into place horizontally first. Let's do it in 2 steps. Move. We'll snap to its midpoint, and then the midpoint of this line there. So that should give us equally 5 feet and 5 feet. So we can check that DI distance. Snap there, snap perpendicular, and it says distance of 5 feet. Perfect. Double check the other side. We'll do a distance command here also. DI, click, and perpendicular. That's 5 feet also. So there. So it's centered horizontally where it needs to be. Now we just know that this needs to go up 3'5 3/4 inches. That's what we measured in Rhino. So we'll move it. M, move, click, move, type in 3 feet dash 5.75 inches, enter. And there it is. We have completed the unfolded elevations of our house.